Joining us now is Okpe, which story is trending around the world. Hello, Jinx.
Okay, guess what, Tundu? Dr. Bati actually danced to his tune.
You really got into it. That was a proper performance.
Good morning, Tundu. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Raji.
Perfect. All right.
Great as always.
Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
In France, Rachel Keke, a 48-year-old former hotel cleaner, defeated President Emmanuel Macron's Ensemble Alliance sports minister, Roxana Maraschinano, in a second round of the legislative elections in the country. Keke was previously known for leading one of the longest hotel strikes in the country's history, successfully campaigning for fairer pay and better working conditions. Her supporters have dubbed her win a victory of the voiceless. While in Colombia, Francia Marquez, a single mother and a former housekeeper, will become the country's first black vice president after a historic vote on Sunday saw Colombia pick its first leftist president, Gustavo Petro. Marquez is a celebrated environmental activist whose opposition to gold mining in her home municipality of Suarez saw her receive the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize in 2018. In Malawi, Luke, a Chinese filmmaker wanted by the country's police as part of an investigation into allegations of racism and child exploitation, was arrested on Monday. Luke was exposed by BBC Africa Eye after an investigative report revealed that he had used children to film personalized greetings videos, some of which included racist content sold on Chinese social media. Under sports, World Athletics President Lord Cole hinted on Monday that the sport could follow swimming in banning transgender women from elite female competitions, insisting that fairness is non-negotiable. Swimming's world governing body, FINA, had voted to stop trans athletes from competing in women's elite races if they have gone through any part of the process of male puberty. Finally, under entertainment, U.S. official music chart, Billboard, has announced award-winning Nigerian singer Wizkid's Essence, featuring Thames as the longest charting African song. Wizkid's fourth studio album, Made in Lagos, was also confirmed as the longest charting African album, making him the longest charting African artist in recent times.
Amazing. Well, let's begin what's trending. This time in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 61 years after the gruesome murder of the country's first prime minister, Patrice Lumumba, by Belgian mercenaries, his gold-capped tooth, which was all that remained after his body was dissolved in acid by his killers, has finally been returned to his family. Arise News' Tomisin Delano reports.
Lumumba securely wrote.
Patrice Lumumba was the first prime minister of the Congo. He was shot dead by a firing squad in 1961. Fearing any grave would become a site for his martyrdom, his body was dissolved in acid. Now, all that remains of him is a golden tooth, which was kept by the Belgian police commissioner, Gerard Suete. Following the recent Belgian royal visit to the Congo, the return of the tooth is a continuation of its gestures of reconciliation. Ahead of the official ceremony, Lumumba's son, Roland, had this to say.
Je ne peux pas dire c'est la joie.
I can't say it's joyous, but it's positive for us. It's positive that we can finally bury one of ours.
Lumumba's family first met with King Philippe. Then the tooth was returned. Next, the tooth was placed within a casket, as Lumumba's family were able to hold a funeral.
Le retour de Patrice Emery Lumumba dans son pays.
The return of Patrice Emery Lumumba to his country will certainly allow the Democratic Republic of Congo to recover an essential link in its national memory, fragmented by the tragedy of his death. Beyond the Democratic Republic of Congo, an entire continent, Africa, is celebrating the return of one of its worthy sons.
Cette responsabilité morale du gouvernement belge.
This moral responsibility of the Belgian government has been recognised, and I repeat it again on this official day of Belgium's farewell to Patrice Emery Lumumba. I would like to reiterate here, in the presence of his family, the apology of the Belgian government for the way it influenced the decision to end the life of the country's first Prime Minister.
After 61 years, Patrice Lumumba, a hero to many in the Congo, is finally laid to rest.
Well, all right, Rufai, I guess I'll start with you on the story. I believe, earlier this month, King Philippe of Belgium had visited the DRC, and he expressed his deepest regrets without an apology. I mean, the question is, why is this coming at this time? This gold-capped tooth was discovered in 2000, in the year 2000. Why did it take so long for them to have returned it?
I don't care about the rubbish Belgium is doing, because it's absolutely rubbish. But our heroes will always stay our heroes. In my living room, I have a picture of Patrice Lumumba sitting there. And I will always treasure and adore a man that his life was cut short at the age of 35, and all he asked for Africa to be free. That was his offense.
Yes.
The Belgians, the CIA, and all of them, what they have done to decimate Africa. If King Leopold and Belgium is really sorry, should we try to start by atoning for all the misdeeds against Congolese, as written in the book of Adam Hochschild, as regards King Leopold's ghosts? Should we start from there? The heinous crime perpetrated against the Congolese, the decimation of Congo, a country rich in flora and fauna, spread over 2 million square meters of geographical excellence and beauty and splendor, but today doesn't have a central government because of how Congo ripped it apart and continues to rip it apart? Should we also remind them that they decimated Congo so much, and Congo became 3 countries on independence, the Free Congo State, the state of Katanga, and the likes? Should we remind them all the things they have done, and they just think with visits, like they did the last time by the king coming to Congo, that they can just sweep everything under the carpet? Lumumba was murdered in cold blood because all he fought for was liberation of Africa. And the Belgians didn't like it because they continually wanted to perpetrate their heinous crimes and, take away from the soil of Belgium the rich natural resource Belgium has got. And they continue to do it. Today, Congo is not free. There's still a popular saying in the West that where Congo ends, where logic ends, Congo begins. Because with the vast national resource, from Kisangani to Kivu to every part of that country can't stand on its feet again because Belgium destroyed it. And guess who they used? They used African stooge like Joseph Desire Mobutu Kukungenu Wazabanga, Joseph Mobutu Sese Seko. They used people like that. They used people like Kasavubu and the likes to destroy the country. They used fellow Africans to destroy the country. They used the likes of Chombe, of Katanga, to destroy the country. And now they just think that overnight, by returning Lumumba's tooth, all of everything will go away. No, it's not that easy. I'm not buying this.
Well, Tundu Abiola, 23 years of King Leopold II's rule, 10 million people died in the Democratic Republic of Congo. How sad is
and the
story?
West tries to bury that historical fact. It's not a fallacy. And they talk about the Jewish Holocaust, the death of 6 million Jews at the hands of Hitler, and they say never forget. But when it comes to the African Holocaust, everybody wants to forget. Well, yeah, you said quite a bit, Rufai, on that issue of the secession of Katanga, at which point, obviously, Belgium swooped in to protect the mineral resources and therefore their own coffers. And how Colonel Mobutu, as he then was, he later became the dictator, Mobutu Sese Seko, swooped in and started to pursue Patrice Lumumba because he had been removed as the prime minister by the president. I wish he had left the country, I don't know, but he was a fighter. He thought the Soviets could come to his aid. That's what made him America's enemy. Him and his 2 associates were found. They were executed by firing squad, and their bodies were hacked to bits and dissolved in acid. And I think the killers decided to take this trophy and lie for a whole month. His family didn't know what had happened to him. They then lied that they tried to escape and angry villagers caught him and burnt him to death. That's not what happened at all. But now the family can have some kind of closure. But I don't want to say that this happened in Congo 61 years ago. Even in our recent history, in the Abacha years, that evil chapter of this country, we don't talk about our history enough. When Ken Saro-Wiwa was executed by the state after that, Stalinesque mock trial that he had, the Ogoni 9, their bodies were also dissolved in acid. That happened in this country. That happened recently in our lifetimes, and we don't talk about it. So for me, it's not a case of, oh, these evil white men. What about the evil Africans do to each other? What we continue to do to each other till today? I just pray that the soul of that really brave, beautiful, valiant man, Patrice Lumumba, is resting in peace and his family has some kind of comfort.
Yes. Dr. Abati.
Okay, the story of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo as it is now known. On February 5, 1885, King Leopold II, the second monarch of Belgium, decided to seize a whole space, a whole historical enclave called, as he named it at the time, the Congo Free State. Other countries, like Britain, and others, they were having colonies. But he didn't want a colony. He turned the whole of the Congo Free State, as he named it, into a private property and imposed on that, country a regime of brutality, seized the resources, dehumanized the people. His agenda was that he wanted to what did he call it? Civilize the people. That he was on a project of civilization. But in truth, it was, on a project of theft and man's inhumanity to man.
Yes.
However, in 1908, he decided to withdraw after chopping off many people's hands, after cutting many people's feet, just dehumanizing the people. He now handed over that territory to Belgium. And it became the Belgian Free Congo. Okay, but there was no freedom involved in that. Now, to jump history and go to Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba was an Africanist. He was an independence fighter. He was instrumental to the gaining of independence by the Democratic Republic of Congo, as it later became known in September 1960. And that was his offense. And of course, you had the Katanga secessionists led by Moses Tshombe. Now, in the midst of that crisis, right, what's his name? Lumumba asked for help from the West, from the United States. He was snubbed. Nobody helped him. He turned to the Soviet Union, and that was his major undoing. Yes. Even the Americans began to say that he had turned, Congo into a communist enclave. So even the West just looked the other way. The Americans looked the other way as Belgium embarked on a mission of extermination. Of course, he was executed by firing squad. Okay, the point has been made, and I think it's a point that needs to be stressed, about how colonialism and the suppression of the African people is not just a fault coming from the Westerners. Africans were complicit. They were part of it. So you see that Patrice Lumumba was a victim of betrayal by the same people that he fought to defend their interests. He was a victim of the politics of division and opportunism in Africa. He was also a victim of the Cold War. Now, many years later, he was executed in 1961. We are now told that his golden tooth is being brought back, for burial in Africa. Well, that may serve the purpose of, Belgium trying to struggle with his guilty conscience. But that's not really the story. The true story is the legacy of colonialism, the legacy of evil at the heart of international relations, and that we continue to be reminded of. Belgium has refused to give an apology expressly. So you have King Philippe, of Belgium visiting, but he didn't apologize. The other day, there was a statement by the government of Belgium. There was no apology involving that. But I do not think that Belgium would ever, at any time, be able to live this down. When the truth arrives in Congo, we're told that the government would declare 3 days of mourning. That truth has been put inside a casket, and it will be given a burial. Does that amount to closure? I do not think so, because memory, hurts, particularly the memory of evil.
Yes, well said, Dr. Abati. May his soul continue to rest in peace. We'll take another story. The governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, has debunked a statement credited to him that a purported investment of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the state, has yielded returns. In May, there were posts on social media claiming that Soludo said that Peter Obi invested $20 million in a brewery on behalf of the state and that the investment is now worth $100 million. The claim, which has already been debunked by Soludo's team, gained momentum last week after a Facebook page titled Lamentations of a Bishop that Obi's $20 million investment in Anambra has increased to $100 million. Soludo, in response to the post, stated that he never made such a false statement and urged Obi's supporters that they can carry on with campaigning without consciously misleading the public. Let's take some reactions emanating from this story. This is from Michael, who wrote, "Lying to promote a candidate is really unnecessary. Ex-President Obasanjo's name was used. He debunked it. Governor Soludo's name was used. He debunked it. Kwankwanso's name was used. He debunked it. Emir Sanusi's name was used. He debunked it. Lies and propaganda will achieve nothing." Well, Odogu wrote, "I think Soludo only debunked the statement credited to him, not the investment in SAB Miller. Anambra Ministry of Finance owns a stake in the company. SAB Miller market capital is now worth 4 times more than when Anambra initially invested. Go and verify." Well, I believe also Peter Obi did make this claim. I mean, it's not that it's not there. He said, I believe even in one of those presidential debates in 2018 or so, when he was questioned by Kadara Ahmed, he said that he did invest $20 million in that brewery and it has quadrupled. But I guess Soludo is distancing himself. He said he has never said it. But the fact is really that people should just campaign with facts. That's basically what he is saying, Rufai.
I mean, it has to be said. We know it's political season. We know it's season for shenanigans. We know it's season for running wild. We know a lot of people have people they support and the likes. Good for them. But please, let's not tell lies this season. If the governor didn't say it, don't say he said it because you want to make it look good. Yes, he has an investment made on behalf of the state government that might have quadrupled. Good for them. But most importantly, don't ascribe things that people didn't say to them because you want to gain leverage. Let us say it in pure terms. It is what we call fake news. And that's fake news. The governor didn't say it. He put it on his website. The rumor started growing. I'm happy the governor has debunked it. That should be tagged as fake news. It doesn't stop you from going to campaign for whoever you like. It's politics season, so people will say all sorts. They'll tell us sorts of lies. They'll say porcupines. In fact, things that even exist, they will say. In fact, I'm not surprised. Very soon, people will say they brought heaven to Nigeria. People will say anything during political season. But let us separate the lie, all right, from the facts. This was not said by the governor. It is a lie. People should focus on the meat of the matter, the campaign. And you see, for me, it's not about even the adulation or anything. I think one thing we are not doing enough is we're not campaigning about the issues. We're not talking about the issues enough. We're not putting the candidates, to test on how would you solve the issue. Okay, take for instance, I have never seen any presidential candidate, all of them, come out to write an op-ed now based on what is happening with Ipman, with increase in petrol price, with subsidy, to come and say, okay, if I was president, I will do this. So we are not hearing the issues enough.
Is it really about the issues? I'm sorry, I really do hate to say. It's usually about characters. It's usually about individuals. And that's always our problem in Africa. strong men, not strong institutions. That's just how we think here. And this kind of slavish adoration that will make you lie, tell blatant lies, I'm not even going to call it fake news, is what it is, a lie, about a governor and misquote him such that he feels compelled, and rightly so, to debunk it. All it does is harm the person that you're trying to help.
Absolutely.
And I hope people get that message loud and clear.
That is the point. Dr. Abati.
Okay, facts are sacred, opinion is free. And I think that in this particular matter, people are mixing up both the facts and opinion. And it's okay for Professor Soludo to say, well, I didn't say this. If he didn't say it, he didn't say it. But what is the truth? That's one question that should be asked. If Peter Obi invested $1 billion on a particular project, or is it $20 million? Okay, what is the state of that investment? What actually is the truth? Was it a wasteful investment, or was it an investment that has brought return on investment? Nobody is talking about that. Okay, did he waste the money of the people of Anambra State? Did the people of Anambra State, did they gain from it? The second issue that we can hold on to, that is a fact. When Peter Obi submitted his handover letter on March 17, 2014, he left a balance of over 86 billion in the accounts of Anambra State. Is that also fake news, or it is the truth? He left investment of over $27 billion, which is stated in his statement. Okay? And he has consistently said, look, he left a balance sheet for the state that was healthy. So is that balance sheet in Anambra State, is he healthy today? What happened after he left? So if he uses that, as he has done in some other instances, as a campaign issue, the question is, what is the truth? I said this, I didn't say that. No, that's beside the point. Can people just interrogate the details a bit further? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you as always for your great analysis. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.